We're live on Instagram and Facebook. Hello. So we had a little bit of delay, partially because I got distracted and partially because King 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃 just dropped off some potato and leek soup. And oh my God, it's super hot. I really hope that I do not spill it on me. Oh my God, it's so hot. Look at that steam. Oh my God. Okay, let's see. Let's see how this tastes. Like he just brought it. Mmm. Did it just fall out of my mouth a little bit? Mmm. Oh my God, so good. So if you watch my stories, you know that William from King Tut has been doing some meal prep for my mom and I, and it is just fabulous. The food is so delicious and it's made to order, which actually, that's a really nice segue into what we're talking about today. So what we're talking about today is that we should actually have diets that adapt to us, not the other way around. And so if this is your first time meeting me, hi, my name is 𝗲𝗂𝗰𝗁. I'm a personal trainer, a transformational coach, and energy healer. My signature program is called The Fat Life. There are 3 ways to join: gamified, community, and private. And I just made really cute highlights on Instagram, so you can go check that out to learn a little bit more about the concept. It's also in the comments of this video everywhere that you are watching it on every platform. Okay. So what I want to share with you is that I'm going to actually break down 4 of the elements of the fat life when it comes to your diet and your exercise. Well, when it comes to your diet. So I'm going to actually tell you how we do things in the fat life, which means that you could take this information as if you were in a paid masterclass and run with it and get your results. And then if you get stuck on anything, you could always join the container, either gamified, community, or private coaching. So long story short, I have been on this inner work journey since 15 years now, when my last binge took place, when I realized that I couldn't eat my way through my feelings. And then that's when I went to therapy. That's when I got diagnosed with PTSD. And then things have happened since then. I've been on numerous diets since then, even though I was able to stop binging that long time ago. And I've been on 2 restricted diets since then that I did pretty good on. One of them was for anti-inflammation for my lower intestines. And then the other was a reverse cut to reveal my 6-pack, which is like pretty much there. It's pretty much there. So anyway, I have a lot of experience with dieting, a lot of experience with emotional regulation. And so what I'm sharing with you today is all the wisdom from that experience so that you can stop dieting and actually love being in your body and love the food that you eat. So I want to jump into it right away. The first thing is that we're not going to have any more restriction in the fat life. We are all strategy. And this works really well for the women that I work with. The women that come to me are boss babes. They are entrepreneurs, or they are high level in business to where they have had to put in the work of performance and strategy to get shit done. And so when we actually apply a strategy to our emotional work, it is way easier to break down the emotional ties that we have with food that keep us on the yo-yo dieting loop, or outright binges, right? That are like so awful to put ourselves through. So part of the strategy that we do in the fat life is you have habits that you're taking up on a weekly basis, just 1 habit a week. So the first habit that we do is we actually just write down all of your food. So remember, do this. I'm coaching you right now. You're going to write down everything that you eat in an entire week. And then what we do is we pull out 3 daily nutritional non-negotiables. This means that we pick out just 3 rules, because the boss babes love rules. We love rules. 3 foods or food behaviors that you're going to do every single day that are effortless, effective, and enjoyable. This means they have to move the dial forward towards your health, towards your aesthetic goals, because we're doing aesthetics here. I don't care about being healthy. I just care about being hot. So effortless, effective, and enjoyable. You have to like what it is that you're doing. So many times we associate suffering with results, and that is not the way it goes. And so when we look at these 3 food behaviors, it makes it really easy for us to get the results that we want. And because we are all so unique, I actually incorporate your astrology and your human design into this method. And so what I mean is we're going to do the regular habit work with writing down all of your food so that you can pick out just 3 things that you're going to do every single day. But also we take into account that we are a feminine body, and every single day in roughly a 28-day period, we are a different human being on a biological level because of our hormones in the 4 stages of our menstrual cycle. And then also we have different ways that we associate through human design of a manifesting generator, a projector, a reflector, to where you know that there are different types of go energy and lean back energy. And so when we're looking at the 3 DNCs, one of the things that I want you to notice that one of the ways this system is unique is that we're taking into account that you are a female and that you're going to have different cravings and different desires and different nutritional needs in this 28-day cycle. And also your energy type. Like, we're not going to fit a square peg into a round hole. So that means that your DNCs might change. They might be seasonal, they might be with different stages of your period, and then they might just be whenever you get bored, or if you travel, you on vacation, like whatever, stuff like that. So for instance, for me, I wish I brought my chocolate. I usually bring my chocolate and cookies. So I have my gallon of water and I fill it up into another cup so that I don't, get germs in this, and I'm not buying a whole bunch of these gallons. So I try to drink a half gallon to a gallon every single day. Most days I hit that mark. Then I also get in a serving of protein through a protein shake. So sometimes that means it's a full meal replacement shake that does have fat and does have some carbs. Other times it's just pure protein. And then the third thing that I do is I have preemptive treats. And so that means that I am eating pieces of cookies and pieces of See's candy every single day, because the whole point is that we actually enjoy the experience with our food and we limit decision fatigue. And decision fatigue is one of the things that just very matter-of-factly will trigger us into yo-yos or to binges. And what it means is that we have all of these things that we have to manage with our brain on a day-to-day basis. Every single day, we are computing so many decisions. So if we have to do all of these things for other people, for our businesses, for parents, for children, whatever, and then we add on super meticulous super meticulous dieting protocols, then we're fried by the end of the day, or we're fried by the end of the week. And then that's when all hell breaks loose. So when we focus on just 3 things that we like doing, that are effective and that are effortless, requires no thinking whatsoever. It does not require a lot of thought for me to go whip up a protein shake and chug it down. It does not require thought to drink the water. It does not require thought to eat my See's candy. So that's one of the things that I want you to do. Journal your food for an entire week and then pick out 3 things that you can commit to every single day that are effortless, effective, and enjoyable. Number 2 is you're going to desensitize cravings. Food no longer controls you. So part of the things with how food ends up controlling us is that it's just an energy, right? And so a lot of, like, recently, I've been talking a lot about feminine energy and masculine energy, the matriarch of the Neolithic age, and then the patriarchy that came in and then started dividing things. And there are, like, if the matriarchy still existed, we wouldn't have attachment trauma, which is really fascinating for how children were brought up. And in my work, we talk a lot about attachment trauma because it's in these ages of 0 to 3 that we go into fear because we don't have a connection, nervous system to nervous system, which then trains our nervous system to look externally for safety and for self-trust, or for trust at all. We don't have self-trust. We need the outside to trust. So then what happens is, because this is an energy, because this is just what happens in the mind, because of the body's nervous system feeling a disconnection from other caregivers, which means we will die if we don't have a connection to other people, The mind creates mindsets that say, I need external validation and I need external guarantees in order for me to trust the process. And then that relinquishes all of our personal power onto whatever device, method, strategy it is that we are thinking is going to give us the guarantee. So when it comes to desensitizing us from the cravings, we have made all the food that we love and that hormonally we might crave during different times of the month. We've made that the enemy because we have the mindset that says, I have to follow this diet to a T if I'm going to get results. I have to follow keto. I have to follow carnivore. I have to follow the Mediterranean diet. I have to follow Atkins. I have to follow Whole30. It's crazy. So then what ends up happening, because we have all of these no foods, our brain wants what we can't have. We always want what we can't have. So then we have this huge list that just keeps growing of all the foods that we crave. So what we do in week 2 of the Fat Life with your eating curriculum is you bring in your forbidden foods into your house. So that means if your forbidden foods are Oreos, you best believe you're going to bring several packages of Oreos into your house, the ones that you will only eat when you're on a binge, and you're going to have them in your house and you're going to eat them without binging. And you're not going to want to do it because in your mind, you're still in diet mode that this is a bad food. I cannot have it until your mind cannot take it any longer and you end up eating the whole container of them, right? We know the story. So what we do exposure therapy. This means that you bring your forbidden foods into the house and you eat a little bit of them every day. So say your scenario was with chips. Maybe your binge food is Fritos. That means that once you have the bag of Fritos in your house, you're going to have a serving of it. You're actually going to look at the label and see what an actual serving is, and you're going to pour it into a bowl, and you're going to go sit down on the couch, and then you are going to eat those Fritos. And then you're going to check in and be like, do I want more? I want more. Then you're going to get up, and then you're going to have another serving of Fritos. And then you're going to finish the Fritos, and then you're going to ask yourself, do I want more? And if you want more, you're going to get up and you're going to go pour another serving and you're going to eat another serving of Fritos. And so what we're doing is we're actually eating the regular amount, which is fine to eat. We are training yourself to not make these foods bad. So when you have just that serving of Fritos and you consume it, and you give yourself a second to tune into your thoughts and feelings, and you realize that you want more, now you have to make a decision to go through that entire process to have another serving. But now that you know the context of what's in a serving, now you really have to make a decision. Do I want to eat this or not? And in the desensitizing period, we want you to eat as much as possible, but we want you to eat it one serving at a time, because that's going to give you context for the experience. It's going to give you time in between eating a whole bunch to actually tune into your thoughts and feelings to see what's going on. Because the thoughts and feelings that go on when you're eating your binge food in a controlled setting with one serving at a time, and you observe the thoughts and feelings in between eating another helping, and you observe the thoughts and feelings when you're done, it tells us everything we need to know about what emotions and what mindsets are stored in your body, causing your ghosting and your sabotage. It is the most brilliant thing to do. So go ahead and do that. And you're probably experienced with inner work if you're watching any of my content. So go to your favorite inner work type of modality. If it's breath work, if it's journaling, if it's, like whatever it is, like go do that. Okay, third thing, we have four things that I'm covering. Okay, so you're going to adjust your macros without obsession. This is effortless adaptation. So what this means is macros are a really great way to get an objective view of what your body needs. A lot of people live by the app, what I mean is that they'll have a certain amount of carbs, certain amount of protein, certain amount of fat that they have on the app, and they will eat whatever it says to eat, regardless if they're hungry. And I've done this. I've totally done this to where I didn't eat enough carbs during the day, and it's like 7 o'clock at night, and I have 50 carbs left that I'm supposed to be eating, sometimes 80 to 100. And then that's when I ate this like huge bowl of cream of wheat to try to hit that carb quota. And what happens when we do this, and we're not a bodybuilder, we're not stepping on stage to be super lean in a bikini, we're not doing a powerlifting event to where we actually want to gain weight, because in powerlifting, like a pound of body weight equates to a certain amount of inches in leverage. So the more you weigh leading up to a powerlifting meet, you actually end up being able to move more of the weight and you win the competition. So if you're not doing something that requires something very specific with your body, it doesn't make sense to follow the app to a T. But a lot of us do, because we see people, a lot of fitness coaches are bikini or bodybuilder type women. And so they're living the stage life. And sometimes they don't actually ever get regular life lean. They stay stage lean for long periods of time or close to it. And so as the consumer who isn't in bodybuilding, we're looking at that body and we're thinking, if I follow macros, that is what I'm going to look like 24/7. And that's just not the case. However, if we use macros as a gauge where we're like, okay, we figure out our calorie deficit, that, if we eat 1,500 calories a day, we're going to be able to lose a pound to a pound and a half of fat every single week, right? Ideally fat, not muscle with the fat. So you figure out what your calorie deficit is, and then you plug in your protein first. When you're putting it in MyFitnessPal, you put your protein in first to see, you put your protein in first, and then you adjust your carbs and your fat accordingly. And so a lot of times to have the bodybuilding look, we favor more carbs than we do fat, because the carbs allow your muscles to fill out. So then that's how you get like those nice little sculpted muscle look. So what you end up doing is you toggle back and forth on your MyFitnessPal after you plugged in the amount of grams of protein. We always prioritize the protein, and then you figure out what you eat. You're going to do like 150 grams of carbs, you're going to do 50 grams of fat and 120 grams of protein, whatever. So what happens is when you actually use this as a way to gauge things, this means that when you're feeling like foggy in your head and you look at your app and you're like, wow, I really didn't eat many carbs today. I'm in that liminal space where my body hasn't switched to burning fat on my body for fuel. I'm just low carbs and it's making my head foggy. Or if you have like insatiable cravings, you can look at your fat and you'll be like, dude, I am PMSing and I need more fat. And so this gives us a little bit of context if we're not fully tuned into our body yet, or we have so much going on that like we can't really hear our body at a moment's notice. So when we use that kind of style with the macro tracking, it makes more sense for us to get sane results. So I say there is a mad macros level and there is a sane macros level. So I teach you how to use macros in a sane way. The fourth thing is eat like a queen and never have to start over. So this is awesome because this is what so many women are missing, because they have the fantasy of the dream body, right? What we're going to look like, the experiences we're going to have, what the clothes are going to fit like, how we're going to be moving, if we're dancing, if we're on the beach, if we're running, all these amazing things that we think are going to happen when we have the dream body. And we also think that once we have this dream body, then all of our problems are going to go away. It's just not something that's going to phase us anymore. And the reason why that part of the fantasy pops in is because the current nervous system that is still dysregulated from attachment trauma in ages 0 to 3 or 0 to 7, where our nervous system, your little nervous system, was looking for an adult's nervous system to connect with, to have a sense of safety. If there was a disconnect because of separation, if there was a disconnect because the parent was emotionally distant, if there was a disconnect because that emotional distant parent was actually just dealing with the stress of life and maybe just kind of rubbed you the wrong way, that's enough to cause a disconnect. So it's not like it has to be some horrible issue. Trauma is just the separation. It's just the emotional experience of feeling separation. And you know what that feels like if your boyfriend or your girlfriend is a little bit distant, if your friend is a little bit distant, you know that feeling of like, there's something not right. I don't feel that connection. So our little bodies in the ages of 0 to 7 have that experience as well. So what happens is the child mind will figure out how to self-soothe. So the self-soothing of this child mind is a fantasy of what would make them feel safe. And then as we get older, if there is rejection with our parents, or there is separation with our peer groups where we're bullied, we're ostracized for some reason, we will have a fantasy of like when we prove them wrong, right? When we look the way that we're supposed to look to not get made fun of. When we finally get the attention from the parent, if the parent is kind of disowning us or shaming or rejecting us. So these mindsets just start to compound. And so then there becomes an issue of part of the mindset's going to say, I'm going to look for strategies and guarantees to give me this outcome of the dream body, because my fantasy of the dream body is blah, 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 all these amazing things. And I want to feel all these amazing things. I don't want to feel the way I'm feeling right now. So step one is we start to look for the strategies and the diets to guarantee this outcome of the dream body. And because the energy, the emotions of the dream body and the relief that the dream body is giving us in this fantasy, they actually match the emotions that we create at these different ages. When we have the actual attachment trauma, when we're bullied and ostracized for how we look or whatever, like when we're growing up at different ages. So we have the guarantee happening with the strategies. We have the attachment to the dream body saying that if we look this certain way, we're going to feel better. And we have this false sense of security that when we have that dream body, whatever issues that we're dealing with presently, they're all going to go away. Because to the nervous system, that dream body is safety, is living, because a dysregulated, disconnected nervous system means death is coming. So this is like very big work that we're doing with our diet, but it's also very simple, especially when you do it in the fat life, because I've taken over a decade of my inner work, tens of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of hours, reading books, watching lectures, going to conferences to figure out, how does this mind-body connection actually work? And then how can I apply it to the aesthetic goals? Because when we go after the aesthetic goals, not even the health, I'm like done with the health. If we go after our aesthetic goals, it is ripping the Band-Aid off to the emotional regulation. Because if we boldly step into how we want to look and how we want to feel in our body and why we want to look that way and why we want to feel that way, we have to come face to face with shame and rejection. And those are the big emotions that women live with: shame and rejection. We're going to be rejected by other women. We're going to be shamed by other women. We're going to be rejected by men. Blah, 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 blah. We're just going to be shamed or rejected if we actually show up and own our body, say what we want to say, act how we want to act, look how we want to look, all those things. So when you're in the fat life, you're either doing the gamified version, which is $49, and you win a monthly coaching call. You have all of the trainings, you have the community wall, you have me in there Tuesdays through Fridays to help you. When you interact with the platform, then your leaderboard goes up and you get a chance to win every single month. If you join the community, you get everything in the gamified, but then you also get a weekly group coaching call. If you do private, you get everything that I just mentioned, plus you have a connection with me in Telegram Tuesdays through Fridays, and you also have two private coaching calls a month, and you get to come to the weekly coaching calls with the group. And the first 3 months, you have a curriculum spelled out for you of exactly what I want you to do for 3 months. You have accountability, you have checklists, you have Google Forms, you have everything that you need to systematically do the inner work necessary so that you can find the eating style and exercise style that works for you. If you're in the community, you're with me for 6 months. So the first 3 months, we're really getting into the nitty gritty of stuff. And then the last 3 months, we're refining and deepening and making sure that you really get it. If you're with me in the private, you're with me for an entire year. Because if you're in the private container, that means that like you want to get some real deep stuff done. You are so over the surface level bullshit. If you're in the gamified, you can cancel at any time for that $49 a month. You still have access to the 3 months worth of curriculum of the checklist of everything that you need. So we're taking you through everything that you need to do for your mindset, for your emotions, and then for your physical body in a strategic way so that you actually have room to expand and process and heal and align and transcend. Bye. That's it. That's your live stream. Goodbye.